What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Ethereum Classic. I want to go over some data points, what's moving it, and if this is a good time to buy or not. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So ETC at the time of doing this video is up 6.16%, getting a hell of a lot of volume. So it is kind of starting to show some signs of a nice breakout. A lot of this is linked to algorithmic trading, so you can kind of see from the flow that there is a lot of these smaller transactions, and primarily that is algorithmic trading / retail investors. So I'm sure some retail is kind of buying behind the scenes. I actually did buy a little bit. So my last video, I kind of was talking about the technicals and how essentially I kind of saw a little bit more of a low coming, and lo and behold, that's kind of what did happen. But I did buy some more at 870. Nothing significant, but I did lower my average down to about, I think it was like 37 now from 44. So at least it's moving in the right direction, but this is kind of showing some signs that it's wanting to really move higher. What is very odd though is just algorithmic trading is really pushing it higher despite any actual substantial updates. There is a lot of individuals talking about it on social media though, so in my opinion that's probably why AI is being tricked into kind of buying it, because yeah, there hasn't really been that much in kind of substantial news. At the same time though, shorts with ETC have always been very finicky, and what I mean by that is every little hint of a push higher, they like to liquidate very fast. So for instance, even looking at some of the liquidations, they returned about $346,000 worth, and that was very abnormal. So they haven't done that amount since pretty much January the 12th. And as I've mentioned, ETC is very heavily shorted and has always been. So there's always been that level of suppression. So shorts returning, in my opinion, is relatively positive. You do also have at the same time a certain amount of longs liquidating. That's always just kind of swing traders and so forth. But I'm going to go over in this video some key levels to kind of watch for. One thing I do want to bring up though is there's been a lot of kind of iffy data. So in my opinion, one thing that always does push cryptocurrency higher is people's appetite for risk. And right now, given everything that has been coming out, the market's not it's kind of pivoting to risk off. So what is happening to ETC is very abnormal and kind of inverse to what should be truly happening. But even for instance, looking right here, you have Bitcoin up over the last 24 hours, 1%, or sorry, 0.6, Ethereum 0.23. So everything is kind of stagnant. But then if you kind of look at ETC, which right now is ranked number 47 based on market cap, so it has definitely been lagging, it is up 6.2%. So something is in the water and people are starting to buy again, despite the lack of actual updates. Fear and greed index is under the extreme fear category, so 14. So in theory, people's appetite for risk isn't really on the table. But as what I mentioned, when we were pretty much right at the bottom, that might be a very good opportunity for kind of a quick swing trade. And again, I did kind of signal at that time that 797 might be that bouncing off point, and conveniently it kind of did hit that general range. Went a little bit lower, I think down to 760, but still that seems to be a very strong support level. So at least dollar cost averaging wise, just kind of take note of that. So 797, the next kind of support point right now is going to be 904. Because of how volatile ETC is, this is why you have some very wide gaps. So 904 and then 1077. So that's going to be the next strong target. Didn't really come anywhere close to that, at least this run. But if this does kind of continue, then you could be seeing that 1077. But like I said, in all reality, because I'm not here to pump you up, I'm not here to bring you down, I like to analyze the data and give you realistic targets. Right now, that 1077 might be rather difficult, only because of the conditions that is occurring. And even more so on Friday, Trump kind of announcing the 10% global tariff. That's not really the greatest, unfortunately. But nonetheless, right now there is 908 merchants accepting ETC as a form of payment. That hasn't changed since my last video, but still, at least we are above 900, so that's relatively positive stuff. Aside from all of that, quickly getting back to the chart itself, things are starting to really heat up. So ultimately, you need higher highs and higher lows. That's kind of the basic understanding that you're kind of going to go higher. That's not even going into complex, like looking at moving averages and so forth. But as of right now, it is above the 10-day moving average. So it's definitely building up some pretty good momentum. Right now, you really want to look for it to get and stay above that 915. So that was the previous high for this run right here. So ultimately, if it's able to stay above this, then in theory, we could be seeing a very nice push higher, at least to around that high nines, which kind of is where we did land. So 979 is the high that we did have. Very abnormal volume starting to get in. I'm sure some of that had to do with shorts liquidating. And then 869 is the kind of intraday low of sorts. So very wide range. So you can definitely make some pretty good money just day trading or even swing trading. But at the same time, just watch for those key levels that I did kind of bring up. And for those of you that have joined my Patreon, yesterday I actually did mention that you should actually be looking at cryptocurrency and possibly swing trade it this weekend with the mentality of getting out prior to Monday. So I do believe that a lot of individuals are kind of focusing on cryptocurrency for kind of a quick swing trade. But again, the macro conditions, in my opinion, aren't really there. So let me know your thoughts on ETC. Are you buying? Are you selling? If you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. Link in the description below and also the comments. Like I said, I put out good recommendations, such as even kind of that you need to buy certain cryptocurrencies going into kind of Friday afternoon, evening, and then going into pretty much the rest of the weekend, with getting out on Monday, of course. So let me know your thoughts, and with all that, you all have a good weekend.